Warning, the following stunts are done by trained professionals. Actually, we're not trained. Robbie is just a dumbass and decided to do a drunken fantasy football podcast. The thoughts, opinions, and takes are ours and ours only. It is not our fault if you lose in fantasy football or sports gambling. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the one and only Rumboyz Fantasy Network. This is Rumboyz After Dark, your Friday night football show. All things football. We got you covered from the college football playoff and getting you ready for the NFL playoffs. Really quick, want to shout out our sponsors over at GLD Shop, GLD Get Like Me. Spring is approaching. You're going to make sure you want to keep yourself nice and cool with some GLD ice. Let's go.
Hop out in Miami when no land, I got no understanding. Out of here, I'm burning, or turn me up, you can't understand it. In the club, posted up, they lit up, no matter where I'm standing. Drop GLD for the Cuban link, yeah, you see it there. Might spaz out on some taller shit, no one zero tolerance. Money conversations ain't hard to relate, it's hollering. See my net, they acknowledge it, good friend, go where you're not.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am joined by the homie. Drop the mic, FF. What is good, bro?
What is good? What is good? It's Friday. It's 2025. Let's kick it off.
Yep. Cheers to me. Cheers to you, all the Rump boys and girls. What it do? Dilly.
Dilly, y'all.
All righty. Taco will be joining us within a few, but that gives us a perfect opportunity to kick things off with the college football playoff. It has, to some, it has been quite a bit of a bore with some of the blowouts that took place between, the first and the second round. And then a lot of talks about, reseeding and so much, there's so much to do with the buys. Many argue that the 12-team playoff is rewarding the hottest teams, but not necessarily the best teams in college football. I want to know your thoughts as we get ready to set into these final rounds, and who are going to be your final two that you anticipate us seeing in the college football national championship.
All right, so first off, because I think you know exactly where I'm going to start. Speaking of goddamn blowouts, why does one of the blowouts have to be the game that I decided to frickin' spend my money and go to? Okay, 30-0 after the first, whatever it was. I was at the Rose Bowl, so blowout there, but still going to the Rose Bowl was cool.
Ancient ass stadium,
but it's still great. It's still just
it's
classic.
still experience. Yes.
Coming over, it's still great. Here's how first off, this I told you. I think I've told you on camera. I know me and you have talked about this off camera in text and on camera, or on camera but not on stream. I would do what they did in the sense of, if you're a division winner, you automatically get in, blah, blah, blah. However, They should seed them 1 through 12 after that. So ASU wouldn't have gotten a bye. Ohio State would have gotten a bye. It wouldn't have been Oregon. Oregon got screwed in the sense that they had to play Ohio State, who's a top 4 team, where Penn State went and played SMU and then Boise, and now they got Texas. So that, depending on that, I understand why they did it this way. They thought it would work out. Like if a Big 12 school was a top, it wouldn't have been Boise getting a bye. Or, if it was a better Big 12 school, it wouldn't have. Arizona State got the bye, but it would have been a better school. Clemson, all that jazz, who knows?
I mean, we also have to think about like when this format was being kind of established, you still kind of had, the Pac-12 being more put together and things of that nature. So there's a little bit of that to do with it, the reconferencing, so to speak. But But then also, I mean, a lot of people are. I personally feel like don't do anything with the current format right now. Give it a couple of years. Let NIL and such, kind of work its way a little bit more through college football. I mean, because to your point, you're right. I mean, there's no reason why Penn State had to, got to face a SMU team, or, the fact that all the teams that got a bye essentially were booted. I think that we need to find a way to where, okay, the bye is treated the same way it is in the NFL.
First, I think the byes had to do more with the teams that are playing than the time off.
I say that time off has a lot to do with it. You give me 3 weeks of not playing ball while I'm already in the midst of a season, it's gonna be a little bit. You're gonna come out rusty. You're gonna come out flat. 3 weeks of just straight practice. You pretty much your body almost resets as if to it's week one, all over again. Because of the time off, because then a lot of things happen within the mental game, the psychological game as well. I also feel that schools that are getting a bye, none of this neutral site BS, none of this bowl game neutral site BS. Give them home field advantage. If you're getting a bye, you're getting home field advantage. There's no reason why teams in the first round were getting that home field advantage, and then you move forward.
What are you going to do about the Rose Bowl and all that?
You gotta find ways to move it. Got to find ways to reschedule it. You got to find ways to expand the calendar. Maybe we make more games. I know that TV providers aren't going to be upset about that. We know that sponsors and boosters aren't going to be upset about that. Also, I think that because of the college football playoff, it's made it to where it's not as important, as much emphasis on the bowl games. I feel like I found myself, or either we find ourselves in this weird spot where certain bowl games, I feel like this year, were more entertaining than the actual playoff games.
I agree with you, but I think that's a totally different discussion that has to do a lot more with NIL than the playoff.
I think that has to do, it has to do with the NIL as a combination.
And people backing out and the transfer portal, because there was one game that I watched, I forget which one it was, but there was one game I watched and it was a good game. But I think combined between the two schools, neither had their starting quarterback. Each team had 6 or 7 starters that were studs that were either going to the NFL and opted out, or that transfer window so they couldn't play.
I don't feel like you should be able to, especially with NIL, you should not be allowed to opt out of playing a bowl game. I do want to throw that out there.
I hate it.
I'm paying you. I paid you. If you want to opt out of playing the bowl game, fine. You got to give me back some of the money.
LSU,
and there needs to be clauses. There needs to be clauses that are written into these deals, into these contracts for these players for that. I just want to make sure I throw it out there. I know it's a little bit off topic, but
no. But I mean, just as an example, and then I'll give you this take real quick, and then I'll go into what I think about the Final Four. LSU had 100 and something receptions. Opts out. Between opting out and one in the transfer portal, they had Mason Taylor, Jason Taylor's son.
Yep.
They had Kyron Lacey. They had another guy, and then they had someone transfer. There was 100 and something catches. Boom, gone. That's screwed. That messes up. Not only does it mess up the offense, it messes up Nussmeier, who's trying to prove that he can either go to the NFL or does he need to stay for another year. It messes that up. So, on that. So, for the Final
and really
Four,
quick, the Pop-Tart Bowl was absolutely fucking electric.
Bomb.
Absolutely electric. Definitely delivered in today's society for memes and internet social media frenzy. The Pop-Tart Bowl was fucking everything. The Pop-Tart dying and then coming back and then waving in the stands all burnt and shit. Oh, God, it was great. It was great. Did you know that it was a NASA physicist that helped develop the Pop-Tart?
I knew it was
That's
something
why they're
smart.
wrapping foil.
I knew it was something smart, but I couldn't remember exactly what.
Yeah. Check out Unfrosted, the Pop-Tarts movie on Netflix.
So for my final four, here we go. Notre Dame against Ohio State and Texas versus Penn State. I want Texas to beat Penn State, and here's why. Not because I love Quinn Ewers, not because I don't like James Franklin. It's because Ohio State's going to wipe. It's because Ohio State's going to wipe Notre Dame's rear end, and I don't want to see Ohio State, Penn State again.
Okay.
Ohio State is going to be the national champion, but I don't want them to play Penn State for the second time. So I need Texas to win.
I don't feel like Penn State got necessarily a cakewalk. I think that we dealt with this last week. A lot of schools having too much of a fucking layoff.
The easier way.
It was a little bit of It was definitely a little bit of an easier way. How does it shape up right now? What we got? So we got Georgia.
No, it's Notre Dame versus Ohio State.
We got Notre Dame versus what was that?
Notre Dame versus Ohio State.
Yep, Notre Dame versus Ohio State, and then Texas.
Or no, wait, hold on. Texas. No, it's Texas versus. Hold on,
Texas versus Ohio State.
Texas, Ohio State. So it's Ohio State, and I need Notre Dame, so it's not a Penn State rematch.
Yeah, I posted this earlier.
Yeah.
I posted this earlier. This is how we end up with this on the fucking show sheet. Shit.
Yeah, it's Penn State. Yeah. It's Penn State, Notre Dame, Texas, Oklahoma. So
there
Texas,
we go.
Ohio State. So I need Ohio State. Ohio State's going to beat Texas, but I need Notre Dame to beat Penn State so I don't have a rematch.
So here's what I'm going to say. First, starting with Texas, Ohio State. And we're going to kind of talk about this a little bit later. I think that Texas definitely loses. The way that Ohio State is playing right now, they are playing out of their fucking minds. They are playing like disease-infested rabies, just out of their minds. Just out of their minds, bro. Ohio State is definitely scary. I want to also state that I'm happy that the whole SEC is eliminated, aside from Texas. But you're new,
You're brand new.
Part of the reason why I know all year I was kind of high on Texas. I rode Texas very high, especially because you know how high I was on Ewers. I think that this needs to be given. Ewers needs a chip on his shoulder to come back next year and be like, yeah, I could, go and, maybe declare, but fuck that. I want to go get my revenge. Arch, you go play for Belichick. Go to UNC, Arch. I got this here. I'm going to go as far as I can go here. Texas is a program like that, and they got a very rich history to them. There's a lot of money there. He's going to make a lot of money. What they offered him an extra $8 million, $6 million to return.
It's supposedly a different team. They're not saying who.
Yeah, I've heard that it could potentially be a different team other than Texas. I think Ewers finds a way to just stay in college, whether it's Texas, whether it's somewhere else. Gets his shit pushed in against Ohio State. Gives him a chip on his shoulder. He feels like he has to come back. Tyler Warren is nasty as a tight end. Penn State, Soju Waller can declare and be a giant. I am dead. Rabies is my shit, Robbie. Gunnar Helm is cool. This tight end class is stacked, by the way. Yes, it is. Ewers is shit saved by Goldilocks. I'm dead. On the other side of the equation, we don't know what the status of a healthy Jeremiah Love is going to be. And I think that running game is highly needed, for Notre Dame. But Notre Dame also gives me this weird ass Michigan vibe where it's Riley Patterson kind of gives you like a little bit of a glimmer of like JJ McCarthy, where it's like, if you gotta win it with your arm, you can. You know, like that's not your thing, but like if you gotta do it, you can do it. So I think that Notre Dame definitely puts up a fight, but Penn State just feels already ready for the moment. They feel like a national championship team more so. Marcus Freeman has done great as a coach. I love what he's done with Notre Dame. Shout out to the Fighting Irish. It's been great seeing Shane Gillis pop up all over my newsfeed because the Fighting Irish are doing something. It's too much of a Cinderella story for me, and I don't think they were ready for it. So, yeah, Penn State might not have Abdul Carter. Like it's yeah.
Let me ask you this question:
Maybe call the Chinese Notre Dame cornerback.
Was losing to Michigan a blessing in disguise for Ohio State?
Yes, because for Ohio, you get that monkey off your back, nice and early. If I were, I'm not an Ohio State fan. I fucking can't stand the Buckeyes. But if you were to ask me,
you cannot, and I can attest to that.
If you were to ask me, if I were an Ohio State fan, if you were to ask me, I would say it's more important to win a national championship than beat a bullshit rival. Like if you're at the end of the day, if you're a Michigan fan right now, you're eating yourself internally. It is eating at you internally. Seeing Notre Dame, Penn State, and Ohio State, all you can do is root for Texas if you're a Michigan fan. Like, it's kind of a sad world for them right now.
Do you think that if they would have lost to Tennessee in the first round of the playoff, that Ryan Day would not be the coach right now, and
no,
Mike Vrabel would be?
Yeah. If they lost to Tennessee, if they're not in the playoff, it's tough. It's a tough road up for them.
I think it would have been Mike Vrabel.
I mean, I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know now.
Yeah, no, we'll never know. I thought there was a point in time during the season I was definitely thinking, Vrabel to college doesn't seem like a bad idea. I think there's a NFL team for Vrabel.
He's getting a job now.
Yeah, he's definitely for sure.
One more thing about Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith is a freaking man, period.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Damn, that kid. Watching that kid on purpose, I'm like, what the
fucking dog. Vrabel will be a Jet. Oh, God, please no. I'd much rather him be a Bear.
I don't think so.
Yeah, anything but him being a Jet. As long as we are on college football.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about some incoming quarterbacks for this NFL draft. All right. We're going to kind of go through and I guess rank a couple of guys who we've heard for the most part that they're going to declare that they're going to possibly be something at the next level, whether or not they've declared or not. I'll kind of just rattle off a list and I'll let you go. Okay.
Yep.
Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Will Howard, Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel, Riley Patterson, Jackson Dart. And thoughts on Ewers choosing not to go to the NFL? I mean, he technically could.
Okay. Another one I want to throw in there. I know me and you mentioned him today. Carson Beck did declare.
Yeah, Carson Beck as well.
Yeah, do. The reason I want to bring that up is you a dumbass. I don't know why you declared after being injured and already being a questionable talent. I can't remember who brought it up in the chat, but Drew Aller did say he's coming back to Penn State, but with them performing the way they are, that could be reconsidered. If it is reconsidered, I would be very upset. I would be very upset if I was a Penn State fan because their backup, once he declared that he was going to stay, decided to put his name in the portal and already committed to Missouri. So that would screw them over there. I want to bring that up real quick. Now, let's get into this class because me and Robbie have some disagreements in this class. Me and Robbie have disagreed about a certain person in this class. And I know me and him differ on some stuff. There are some other positions that me and Robbie do agree with. Not this class because I don't know yet, but in general, we have agreed on some stuff. This class, I don't think we're going to. My number one is Cam Ward. However, I do not think this draft class of quarterbacks is very good. I'm sorry. I have Ward in his own tier, unfortunately, because I do not think that the guy who Robbie thinks, the guy that his father thinks, the guy that the state of Colorado thinks, I do not think Shedeur Sanders should be a top 5 or 10 pick in the NFL draft. He will be due to the fact of need in the NFL for quarterbacks. He is my number 2 in this class.
So let's be realistic. Okay, so you have Shedeur as your 2?
Yeah, I have Shedeur as my 2.
Okay. So first, realistically, a lot of these guys are going to land in places. These guys are going to get opportunities.
Yeah. We
have had the conversation year in, year out. This isn't a good class, and this class isn't great. And then all of a sudden, it turns out to be like so for the sake of, hey, like at the end of the day, somebody's gonna step out and shine. So okay, you got Shedeur as 2. Who you got at 1?
I got Cam at 1, Shedeur at 2.
Okay, you got Cam at 1, Shedeur at 2.
Okay.
All right.
I put Jaden Milroe on the thumbnail. However, right now, at this point in time, Jaden Milroe is not my number 3. I don't believe in Milroe as a pro quarterback. I could be wrong. He could prove me wrong. The one that I think is going to surprise people, but I don't think he's going to be drafted as the number 3, but I think he's going to surprise people if he gets the opportunity. Not saying he's going to surprise the diehards, but he's going to surprise the people that, aren't degenerates like half of our chat. I want Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart's a fucking baller.
I want Jackson Dart because
the kid plays with attitude. The kid plays with moxie. He's
a gunslinger. He's a gunslinger. He's a gunslinger with attitude. So I want him at 3. At this point, I would probably say Milroe is 4.
I have Milroe at 4 as well. Okay.
I think Gabriel is going to be a very good backup in the league and a spot starter, but not a starting quarterback in the league. Will Howard, Will Howard's Will Howard to me.
I feel a certain way about Ohio State quarterbacks.
But it just depends on it depends on the situation too.
And
to me, I hate saying this, but I don't really know if I consider him a true Ohio State quarterback because he transferred in for 1 freaking year. True. Can you list the other ones that I did not bring up yet? So I don't want to leave anyone out that's in my brain.
The only other person to rank is Patterson. Did you already rank Gabriel?
I have Gabriel right after Milroe.
Okay. So yeah, Patterson and Beck.
Patterson and then Beck, because I don't trust Beck right now. I think Beck should have gone into the draft. I think Beck should have come back. I'll bring 2 people up that we're bringing up in other lights. If you
work with this torn ACL, fuck.
If Ewers decided to come out, I would probably put him right in line with Milroe at this point. And if Aller came out, I would probably
put Riley Leonard, not Patterson. Why did I say fucking Patterson?
Riley Leonard, I just don't. Yeah. And then if Drew Aller did decide to come out, I am putting him right ahead of Milroe. Okay. But I don't think he's coming out. But if he did, I would have him right ahead of Milroe. I do think Ewers. My prediction for Ewers is Ewers transfers. Arch is the quarterback of Texas.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of been in the back of Texas's mind this whole time. Well, first I'll kind of just lead off with that. I realistically thought that Ewers was going to be a talent, well beyond his years. He was going to be ready for the NFL right out the gate. He was going to be one of those guys that, hey, I'm a junior, I can technically declare I'm going to go ahead and do it. I thought he was going to fast track it. Hey, go out there, get your degree, son. Complete school, all that good stuff. Keep getting the NIL money. There's not exactly no rush, so to speak.
5 years ago, he'd be going out.
Exactly. Yeah. 5 years ago, there's no fucking question. I understand it now with NIL and everything. I personally, yes, do believe. I know I made the joke about Arch going to Bill. Arch, I think, stays at Texas. Ewers, we'll see wherever the fuck happens. Whoever pays them the most will end up getting them. As for ranking these quarterbacks, for me with Cam Ward, it's the Virginia Tech game that sticks out so heavily to where every quarterback has a game or a handful of games. Ward has a handful of games. Sanders has a handful of games. They both have had some tough outings this season. I think that it is fair to have a very healthy debate on whether or not who is one or who is two. I do think that Shedeur Sanders is head and shoulders.
I know you do.
Number one in this quarterback class. With that being very close with Cam Ward being behind him. Does that suck for Shedeur because of where that landing spot could potentially be? Yes. None of these kids are going to end up in great landing spots, in great situations. It's not like a Denver or a Washington last year where one of those was waiting in the wings because they had, they were developing things throughout the years, so on and so forth. The Raiders haven't been developing shit. The Giants are so far away, and we started out at Hard Knocks, and they seem to be getting even further away. It's Dallas is just like kind of like keeping our head above the water, but who knows what they're gonna do. The Jets, they damn sure need to figure it out. It sounds like Garrett Wilson, if Aaron Rodgers is coming back, is like, yeah, fuck this. So there's a couple of teams that could either A, use a backup, or B, be ready for someone to come in there. Maybe one or two of these guys comes in there and starts day one. I think that Sanders and Ward are those two. So you can interchange those ones at 1 and 2. I have Sanders 1, Ward at 2. At number 3, I love that you went Jackson Dart. I love that you went Jackson Dart. And part of me wanted to. I am going to go Dylan Gabriel just because of how fast-paced that Oregon offense and how fast-tempo that Oregon offense was, and the way that he's able to go out there in that day landing system and be able to compute that at just such a very high level. I think that there's something to where he's going to be able to go in and plug and play into his system at a pro level. It's going to be very easy for him to kind of, kind of marry the QB intellect up here with the NFL playbook and just be able to have everything else, mechanics and so on, and so on else develop and help, and help him continue to grow. At 4, I am going to go with Milroe, kind of similar to you, except where my thing is that I just think that he's a little bit better of an Anthony Richardson. Except I think that he can probably stay a little bit healthier because of the frame. I could see him almost in like a weird, like Jalen Hurts role. I see also a Jalen Hurts narrative, not because of the whole Alabama thing, just because kind of like everyone's kind of, counting you out and like everyone's kind of like, glossing over you. And really it's like, hey, kid, you can actually fucking ball. So I think given the right system, given the right offensive coordinators, they'll have some things plugged and played for him. Maybe he's a tush-push style quarterback, and that's where He's pretty efficient as well. So I do think that Milroe can come in and do some things for his system. Right behind Milroe, I do have Jackson Dart for a lot of the same reasons that you stated. I don't disagree with anything that you stated. I think that Jackson Dart and Milroe can kind of be interchanged on a draft board or within rankings.
How you feel about them being interchanged is how I feel about Milroe and Gabriel.
Is okay, and then fair enough, and fair enough. And then Riley fucking god damn it, yeah, Riley Leonard. I just feel like because he's gone from Duke and then to Notre Dame, there's something to speak to the fact that, hey, dude, like I can go from system to system, and maybe he finds himself in a journeyman, kind of role because of, not maybe being a day 3 type of pick. He's going to be kind of picked around where Will Howard is, who I have right beneath him. With Will Howard, I just kind of want more.
I don't see it.
It's not sexy. Like it's sexy because of the weapons that are around him. But isn't that every single Ohio State quarterback for like the last fucking 5 years, 6 years?
Is he a non-throwing? And I don't mean non-throwing as he doesn't throw. I just mean non-throwing as he doesn't throw 4,500 yards a season. Is he a non-throwing Bailey Zappi?
I could see that in a weird way. Like I could see that. Kyle McCord, I do have a lot of promise for. Not even gonna front. I put, because of the injury, McCord goes over Beck at this point. Beck. I
don't want anything with Beck right now. Like I'm.
You know what's crazy? Even before the injury, we had said, I was like, I feel like Beck out of all these guys could be the biggest faller out of all of them. We were right.
Is he any different than Jake Fromm?
He's just Jake Fromm. He's literally just Jake Fromm.
Can I ask you
McCord
a question?
and Howard are the same guy, but I feel like McCord doing what he's doing at Syracuse is just.
Yeah. All right, so I do have a question for you, and a legit question in the sense of, how me and you talk about prospects back and forth with each other. Mm-hmm. So I legitimately have a question for you. I might be way off, so that's why I'm asking you this. Is Dylan Gabriel at this point, the way he plays and the way he moves, a poor man's Kyler Murray?
I don't want to. I
you get what I mean,
that.
Though.
I could see that in a way.
Like when I said he could be a career backup, to me he would be a perfect fit behind Murray if he was a backup.
He reminds me. I'll make an Oregon comparison. He reminds me of Mariota.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, he reminds me of Mariota. Which isn't a bad thing. If Gabriel lands to the Titans
in the fourth,
like that's not fucking terrible. Like, and if they ended up with Gabriel, and like if Gabriel pans out, how Dak was a 4th round guy out of Mississippi State, how Dak panned out for Dallas, that's good for Tennessee.
Yeah, I see where you're going.
Like I could see Gabriel a 4th rounder, type of deal. Taco, what's going on?
Hello, bro. Chill.
We knocked out the college scouting
on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose.
I figured it sounded like a strategic play by when you guys were talking college when I walked in.
It was very strategic.
Very strategic. So no, but that's kind of how we feel about some of the quarterbacks. During the off season, be on the lookout. Maybe probably even sooner than the off season.
I'm taking a week off of no film, and then I'm jumping in.
Yeah, I've already jumped in, bro.
I've already watched, but I need it.
Yeah,
I have to. I have to back.
I'll be in the new place in January, so I'll like be back in like the regular studio, back and having like all my monitors and everything. And I'm literally just gonna be like cranking out fucking like film, whether it's like a pre-recorded episode, a live, or like it is just gonna be back to fucking normal.
Yep.
But no, that's how we feel about some of the quarterbacks. Be on the lookout for player breakdowns. Those will probably be beginning like a week after Super Bowl at best. 9-man boxes versus Genty is fucking nasty. Don't worry, I do have a breakdown that'll be coming for you guys on Genty. Let's go ahead and from ranking, we're gonna get into grading from college to the NFL. What better way to segue from talking about the future quarterback prospects of
before
tomorrow?
you go, I need to say one thing before you go. Taco, do you have your bag of popcorn right next to the microphone?
Because he is chewing loud as a motherfucker.
Because that's all I hear is.
Oh my gosh. But yeah. But what better way? We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give the both of you, Taco, you're actually gonna start. You're gonna give a breakdown and a grade on a rookie. I'm going to toss out a couple of rookies. We have plenty of time, so we're going to be able to rattle through a couple of players here. So this should actually be really fun. Try not to just rely on the fantasy football perspective. Let's also look at this through the NFL scope because there's a lot of lenses that make up just a great football player. Taco,
I got you.
I am going to give you – I'm going to lead this off because the incumbent tight end class is going to be so amazing. I'm going to give you Brock Bowers, who was an amazing tight end this year. You're going to give a take, pretty much like a profile breakdown, of your thoughts, a synopsis of Brock Bowers this season with your thoughts on him, your outlook heading into next season, and end it with a letter grade.
Cool. So let me just pull up a little bit of stats so I can back up my take. Rocky. I mean, I think what he did for a tight end is absolutely remarkable. But then again, we said the same thing last year about Laporta. And I think that's kind of where my biggest comparison comes in, is he reminds me a lot of Sam Laporta last year in the aspect of he's a young tight end that's really starting to dominate. And when you look at his potential and his upside based on his target share and based on some of the things that he's able to do, I mean, you have to look at him as a top-end talent. I mean, he came into the draft. I know you guys were touting him. I know there was a lot of talking about the Jets trying to get him and him being a top 10 pick. So for him to actually hit, I think he's like the anti-Pitts. You know what I mean? Like Pitts came in with all the hype and didn't live up to it. Pitts was like a top
anti-Pitts is wild. I love that. Yeah. I fucking love that.
He actually, lived up to his pick, lived up to his potential, and from a dynasty perspective, you have to look at it as a home run for now.
I do agree with this take that Aiden drop.
I'm saying
you got more of the yardage. You got more of the yardage out of Bowers.
I'm not saying in the way that they play. I'm saying in the aspect of they're a young rookie tight end that's burst onto the scene and made a name for himself.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Going to be a problem into next year. How do you draft him? Who else do they get on that team? What does the quarterback look like? So from a fantasy perspective, again, Sam Laporta looked fucking phenomenal until all of a sudden there's enough mouths over there that he wasn't getting the target share, and then come the fantasy playoffs, he's tight end one. So these are situations that he has a lot of talent. I think he performed at didn't he break the record for tight end receptions in a year?
Yes.
If I remember correctly. So I mean, there's no way you can't put him as like an A grade. You know what I mean? He set, franchise or positional records, but I think that from a fantasy perspective, we have to be very cautious about not overinflating him off of this fantastic year, because you can look at the tape and you can look at the numbers and everything will justify him being a significant force. But you got to look at what happens with the coaching staff, what happens with the quarterback that comes in, what other wide receivers do they bring in, what do they do to the running game, because that might affect his share. And then all of a sudden you're drafting him in the first round and he's performing like a fifth round, like we saw this year with so many.
That's happened with a lot of
that's
players.
The Laporta effect.
A lot of players.
That's exactly what happened to Laporta. So overall, I'd say from a rookie year, you guys say it's A plus. I'd say future wise, he's probably looking at probably the number one tight end just from the way that he was used. But being that they didn't have as many weapons, I think that might have overinflated his numbers, because if you have a better wide receiver to go with Myers, and then you add in Laporta, and then you have a better running back, and how does that look? Like, what does the target share necessarily break down to? And are you going to get the ROI that you're expecting? So that's kind of like what I'm thinking or seeing on Bowers.
Okay. Mike, you get Brian Thomas Jr.
Thank you, sir. All right, so here we go. I'm pulling it up right now. Brian Thomas Jr. is the number one wide receiver on the freaking Jacksonville Jaguars, period. We didn't know if that was for sure going to be. I was high on him going into the season, but still he even outperformed what I do. If you had to redraft right now of rookies, Neighbors might be the only wide receiver that I take over Brian Thomas Jr. One thing that I do want to say before I get into my critique more about Brian Thomas Jr. and my grade, and yes, I'm going to get close to the camera because Robbie already knows what I'm going to say on this one. Brian Thomas Jr. got screwed. He should have been in the Pro Bowl over Jerry Jeudy. Case closed.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not. For me, it's not even like the Zay Flowers thing is like Leafs is upset about. It's Jerry Jeudy getting in over BTJ. Jerry Jeudy getting in over BTJ. Like, and this is more so to speak really quick. And Mike and I were talking about this in the green room before the show. This is more so to speak about the Jaguars not having a fan base to go out there and put the votes out there, and the Browns having one of the most ancient fan bases ever.
Even though they're weird.
Like, even Browns fans are really weird. But, like, I love them, but a little weird. Ladies, if you want someone to commit to you for real, Browns fans, Washington fans, those people are there for you forever.
Okay, so here's my point. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown are the only wide receivers who had more yards than Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. also had 10 touchdowns. The only people that had more than 10 were Jamar.
Did he freeze? He
amount of touchdowns than Justin freaking Jefferson.
Hold on, wait. Go ahead and say where you were before you froze at Jamar.
Okay, so Jamar Chase on touchdowns had 16. Terry McLaurin had 12. Amon-Ra had 12. Mike Evans had 11. And Justin Jefferson, Brian Thomas Jr., T. Higgins all had 10. This guy deserves to be in the Pro Bowl. I don't care what anyone wants to tell me. He is an A-, but going into next year, I give him a B+ going into Dynasty because there will be a little bit of retraction with who's coming back and not knowing what's going on with the coaching staff, because I truly believe on Black Monday, they will have an opening. So not knowing what's going on with that, I drop him a little bit. But for right now, I would say Neighbors is the only one that I would for sure take over Brian Thomas for Dynasty, period.
Awesome. For I'm going to take on Caleb Williams. Caleb, when you watch his film, you have to understand that with football, there's a game within a game. Okay. I have gone to bat for Caleb Williams many a fucking times this year. I'm going to do it one more time on this segment. Okay. Does Caleb Williams have to adjust how long he holds onto the ball and stands in the pocket? Absolutely fucking yes. That also will come with having an offensive line. Does Caleb Williams have issues trying to play hero ball? Absolutely. That comes with when you get compared to a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes and you constantly have always played like that, and that's the film that you've been studying, you're always going to be looking to make those plays. Do I think that Caleb Williams needs to have a understanding mentally, a mental awareness check of I need to get my body language together. I need to get my composure together on the sideline. I need to take this offseason, link up with my teammates, be a pro's pro, be a locker room guy and, take the leadership reins like we saw Russell Wilson do, even though him and Sean Payton weren't on the same page, he was inviting those Denver receivers over to the crib to be able to throw ball and, still put in some work, to try and at least go out there and win some ball games. Even if everyone doesn't fucking get along, at least try. So I think that there is something to speak to the mental aspect, the mental toughness aspect. Sure, they're going to end up with a new coach. I'm not going to get too much into like the head coaching thing, just because there's so many names from Vrabel to Cliff, Pete Carroll. Everyone's name is getting thrown around with attached to every single organization. Purely just for Caleb Williams, I am going to give him a C+ because I do greatly think that there is room for improvement. I think that there were a lot of things that were done well throughout the season. I do want to see him take the next level as a football player, not necessarily always relying on God-given talent to get him over the hump, because that's what we see when Caleb Williams plays, as we see that he has God-given talent and he has God-given abilities. You're in the NFL now, son. I need you to act like it and I need you to play like it. The game's not just going to come to you easy. You're not going to have 8 seconds in the pocket. I want to start seeing you get rid of the ball a lot faster. Okay. Sometimes, it's okay to throw it away. There's no need to take the sack. All right. So yeah, dead last in accuracy and sack avoidance. It was pretty fucking bad. Pretty fucking bad. The play calling was absolutely atrocious. The worst play calling that I've ever seen. And that's not Caleb's fault. That's not Caleb's fault. And especially when the play that you have to give him to bail him out of the fucking situation to where he can call his own play at the line sets him up just as bad as what the first fucking play was. It's not exactly a formula for success. So a C+ with everything that went wrong within that organization, within the walls of that organization. They also haven't been using a goddamn DJ Moore, paid him all the money for him to run 2 routes. Yeah, that was fucking awful. There's no he's not a check down artist. Why they were throwing to him in the flats, have no fucking idea why. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. If the Jags fire Peterson, I can promise it'll be these 3: Johnson, Cohen, Todd Monken. Moore was better with Fields. Rome was so underused. Him and Rome weren't on the same page whatsoever. And that was evident in the last game of the Bears that we got called when they played against Seattle. A lot has to go right for them. We're going to go back around. Mike, I am going. See, I gave you a receiver last time.
Yeah, you gave me BTJ.
Gave you BTJ. I am going to give you the rookie running backs weren't fucking great this year. Yeah, the rookie running backs were dog shit this year, actually. So I don't even want to go down that path. I'm gonna give you Malik Neighbors.
Give me someone different than that.
All right, then I'm gonna give you
because I already told you what I think of him.
I'm giving you Lad, and then Taco, you get Malik Neighbors.
Okay, so for Lad, where are you, Lad? Okay.
Yeah, all right. I could have given you Bucky.
Okay, for Lad, this is what I think about Lad.
Jermaine Burton's getting a few things.
Lad had 77 receptions, 1,060 yards. Team yard percentage was 31.7 with a 23.2 target share on 103 targets as a gosh dang rookie in Jim Harbaugh's offense.
That's run first.
That is run freaking first. Exactly what my point was, or that's one of the things I was going to bring up is that run first. He had 7 touchdowns. He had 35% of the team's passing TDs.
Fuck. That boy ball. Hey, hashtag exciting whites.
So he had 21. So in yards, he was total yards. He was 21st in the league. The only rookies ahead of him were Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors, and the previously mentioned Brock Bowers. He was also a second-round pick. Third or fourth pick in the second round. The Chargers did what they should have done and took Joe Alt. I know Taco is going to talk about Neighbors, but I want to say one thing. Joe Alt, McConkey, or Neighbors and a second-round running wide receiver. I would rather.
The Chargers punished from the draft all the way through the season.
Hey. So, did you see the other thing? They moved up like 8 picks with the Patriots to get Lad. The trade, the 2 picks, it was 2 for 2. The trade
it was Polk and Javon Baker.
It was Polk and Baker for.
Baker has no receptions this season.
But for Lad and their starting nickel on top of Joe Alt. Okay? Because he is a second-round pick, I'm going to give him a little bit of a boost. I give Lad McConkey a B+.
Yeah. Yeah. Exciting whites. Yeah.
I give him a B+. The one problem that I have is I might get yelled at for this from some people. I'm still not sold on the other young wide receiver in that room. I'm still not sold on him. Yes, I'm talking about QJ. So my only concern is next year, is he gonna get screwed over with the double team in the shade from the safety and drop his numbers a little bit because QJ and Josh Palmer aren't him?
Definitely something to discuss in the future. But the Chargers are still such a live dog, like especially when it comes to playoffs. Like as long as QJ does his job, Lad McConkey will do his, and they could compete with the best of them. So I'm excited for the Chargers.
And I'll throw one more thing out, then I'll throw it to Taco. I take everything that I say about Lad next year away if Jim Harbaugh ends up with Colston Loveland.
Okay.
If he ends up with Colston Loveland, his old tight end from Michigan, who I have as my number 1 currently, right, like directly ahead of Warren. They're going to pick
low enough to where Loveland will be there in the later round.
That's what I'm saying. Could he get him?
Yeah. Let's see here. All exciting whites team. Drake, Steele, Lad, Ricky, Bowers, Alt, Dijon. You got Moss out there as well. Yeah, they did. They really did. Taco, Malik Neighbors.
Well, I mean, I think that's such an interesting player. I mean, I think we all seen he has tremendous upside. He has phenomenal talent, but I mean, is he going to have a quarterback that's going to be able to get him the ball at a consistent, pace and basis? That is a question that we're really going to have to look at. I mean, when we look at targets so far in the year, he has the most targets on the season. He has 162. And the next closest guy is one behind Jamar Chase, 161. But when you look at the yards, when you look at the touchdowns, when you look at everything, he's just so much more efficient. Now, part of that has to do, no, not part, a lot of that has to do with the abilities of Joe Burrow being able to, make plays and get him open and get him plays. And then other parts of it is Jamar Chase showing off his fantastic abilities. But I think that when we go into next season, there's two things that you're going to have to really look at. One, what quarterback do they bring in? And two, what other wide receiver weapons are they going to bring in? I don't think you can
Hopefully
really
y'all don't fucking overload on that and you figure out a way to get some linemen.
I agree with you at that, but I don't think you can go into next season with the same complimentary crew that you have now with Slayton and Hyatt and fucking
you could if you had protection.
I just don't see it when they should have some money.
He has Terry McLaurin and everyone else is just ragtag. You know why? We have protection. Patrick Mahomes is throwing to fucking Kelsey than whoever else he can find open. I don't want to hear this. Fucking protection.
But here's the difference. The odds of the Giants getting someone of the talent level of a Jaden Daniels, considering where they're going to be drafting,
or
now,
just get protection.
You say that.
You solve so much by having an offensive line.
How many times have they tried to draft offensive line? How many players have they drafted for the offensive line? How many players have they signed for offensive line? Every single offseason, it's, we're going to get offensive linemen. And it's the same shit from Evan Neal on down. It's been a ragtag laundry list of bullshit. The only player that's been significant on the offensive line has been the left tackle, Andrew Thomas. Other than that, it's been fucking pretty just like pedestrian. And I just don't know what the fuck is gonna. Yeah, like see in that situation, I'm fucking loving Neighbors. If they go and get some Jamie Winston, you go get some of these other guys, maybe Justin Fields. I'm still taking them pretty high, but I'm definitely not being like as excited. I'm going to see what else they're going to do. I do think they will get protection, but I also think there's no way that they don't get another weapon, especially when you're running back behind that is Tracy. Your whole offense is
not a generational quarterback.
Continue on Neighbors though. So Neighbors generational.
But I think Neighbors actually showed a lot of growth in his character, because when he was first starting the season, he had some of those issues that they had with Jones. He was kind of like being a little fresh. His comments were going viral about him talking shit and almost like having that locker room negative presence. But I think as the season went on, he seemed to really embrace more of a leadership and vocal role on the team. And I think that really, it gives me a lot of hope that he's going to be one of those players that works in the offseason and that he's going to be able to be much better. Like, even if he gets less targets, that he'll be able to do more with his targets next season. So I think all around, there's a lot to be excited for with Neighbors. But again, with wide receivers, you have to look at what happens around him. I do agree, Giants do need protection on the line. But at the same point in time, Jamar Chase greatly benefits from having guys like T. Higgins on the team because you can't just, load up against him. And I think that'll be an interesting thing to see what the Giants do and how they build out the roster, because let's face it is a shit offense. And he is the only bright spot really on the a letter grade. I would probably say you'd have to give him a B.
I'll give him a B plus. I'll put it at a B plus because for what he did on the team that he was on, definitely deserves a lot more attention and recognition. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to close out this segment with I'll take care of two here. Just to kind of get us out of here. Bucky Irving was, in terms of NFL standards, not necessarily fantasy, but I mean just NFL standards. In 16 games, 188 attempts, 1,033 yards, averaging 5.5 yards per carry. Had 7 TDs, averaging about 64.6 yards per game. Good enough for an NFL standard of RB11. Obviously, okay, that's different than fantasy. But when you talk about being in that same category as Aaron Jones, James Conner, guys that are in that same breath, in terms of, rushing prowess, and for him to not to have started this season as a lead back and really had to be in a role of making the most out of every opportunity that was given to him. Sometimes in a backfield that even had, that was even perceived to be a 3-headed monster whenever Sean Tucker got inserted. And then Bucky to still make his presence felt. Bucky, I am going to go B- because there's room for growth. I want to leave room for growth. I think that by the time we get to next year, and we begin talking about Bucky Irving with there being no Rachaad White there, and that pretty much being 70% of his backfield, we'll be talking about an A+ style type of guy. But Bucky Irving, I definitely want to shout him out. And then I just also want to, give a big shout out to a rookie that closed out the season. Actually, we'll make room for two before we get in. We'll make room for two quarterbacks before we get on out of here. Mike, break down Bo Nix for me, and then I'm going to do Penix to get us to the break.
Okay, so
even though Penix has only played 2 games, I have some very high praise that I'm going to give.
Yeah, I want to hear what you say because I have a dilemma on Penix. But let me pull this up real quick. You know me and my statistical BS that I got to bring up.
Bo, you got to enjoy. All right, and then we'll give Taco. We'll give Taco Drake May. We'll give Taco Drake May.
I'll take Bo. Okay, here we go.
I gave you your whole division.
All right.
Do you want Drake May and I give Taco Bo? So you don't have to
give Taco Nix, and Taco you can go now and let me dig in.
Yeah, Taco, you talk about Bo Nix, and then Mike,
I'll go May. I'll take
Penix.
That's fine.
Bo Nix, I love because during the draft process, he was one of the older guys, and I find out everything afterwards, because I don't watch as much college, and these guys are like, he's good, but he has some years on him, not as high of a caliber prospect as some of the other guys. They're younger, have more skills, and then you saw Sean Payton during his process start giggling and laughing, I got a steal on Bo Nix. He really believed in it. He believed that he had something from the draft. From the moment he drafted Bo Nix, he thought he had something. And he go out and wins the job from preseason and starts as a starter. And when you look at what he's able to do from his just rushing ability, and he was a little bit of an inconsistent passer this year, but I think he was a winning player. He would be able to make the plays when you need him. He's able to get you that big touchdown. And he was able to use his legs much more than I had anticipated. I didn't think he was quite the runner that he showed to be. And as they used him, particularly when he was first starting, and I think that helped establish him, at least in fantasy football, and I think in real football, as a real viable player. So I was actually really impressed with Bo Nix. I think he has a lot of upside. I think the biggest questions that we're going to have is he going to be able to continue to do it as a passer? I mean, when you look at the numbers, he threw for 3,400 yards so far, 25 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. So it's not like he's had a huge turnover issue. But I think overall, when you look at 85 rushing attempts for 382 yards and 4 touchdowns, you add that combination. It's a very and a guy that Sean Payton was very ecstatic for and looked like he was in, like how do you say it, rejuvenated with this kind of player, and it's coming across throughout the whole Broncos organization as no one really expected them to be competing for a playoff spot, and yet look at them now. I think you got to give him an A, and you have to give Sean Payton an A for
A is a little crazy. A is a little crazy.
To get them in the playoffs, to be the driving force on this team.
They're not there yet.
I would say, like I've given Bo high praise. I would say, he's Box State royalty, which he is. I mean, but I would say B, like B plus. Like A is just wild, bruv.
I'm not giving him an A plus. I'm giving him an A because he got this team into the playoff and he won games. He won games at the hardest position in the league for a guy that is older and that came out and is a rookie. So I think as a rookie to do what he's doing right now,
here's the thing, especially because my comp for him after his rookie season is Drew Brees, given how mature he is, he's married, he's like the dude is a grown ass fucking man at this point, like, which is exactly what Sean Payton loved about Drew Brees. I want to leave room for the kid's improvement. A is wild. A is wild. A as well. Let's go B plus. Like come on. Come on.
Listen, getting this Bronco team into the playoffs. I'm not talking about great. You're talking about grading him this season, right? This season.
Yes, overall performance and everything.
Yeah, you got
Homie has a 54.1 QBR.
What happened?
He has a 54.1 QBR.
I understand what you're saying, but he did get the Broncos into the playoffs.
That's not all that matters.
Enough of the other stats?
Stop. They're not in the playoffs yet. Stop saying that.
Yeah, exactly. They're not in the playoffs yet, actually. Yeah.
If they lose and Miami wins,
we're going to talk about that later. We're going to talk about that later.
I'm just saying they're not in.
Yeah, no, dude. Yeah, B plus. Drake May. Come on. Give us Drake May, Mike.
All right, Drake May. Okay. Where are you? I just had you up. All right, there you are. All right, Drake.
Yeah, exactly. They have a defense. Like, yeah, I'd go B plus. Like,
all right, Drake May, 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 189.7 yards per game, 66.8 pass completion, 88.3 passer rating. I know it's not QBR like you were bringing up, but I'm just bringing that up.
Yep, no.
And the other one I wanted to bring up that I saw, 53.3% of his yards are after the catch, which I'm okay with. 73.9 catch percentage or catchable pass percentage. He did not, obviously we know he did not start the season, but here's the thing. And this is, I'm coming back on camera because I have to say this. I 100% agree with Taco on certain things when it comes to Bo Nix. But the reason I'm bringing Bo Nix up when I'm going back to Drake May is this. Drake May, as a rookie, coming in after Jacoby Brissett, like I said, I thought Jacoby should have started and then bring Drake May in.
Yeah.
Bo Nix had Cortland Sutton. Drake May had booty.
Literally, he had booty.
Literally,
yeah.
Booty and booty. Okay. He had booty and booty. Okay. I give Drake May a B minus. Because I think he did better with what that he had than some others would have done. Does he have to work on some stuff? Abso-freaking-lutely. Is there promise? Absolutely. I think he's showing the signs of why he was a number or why he was the pick that he was. I get that other quarterbacks were not. So I'm giving him B-. The reason I'm going quick is there's one thing that Taco kept bringing up that a lot of people kept bringing up, not just you, Taco. So I'm not calling you out. I'm calling everyone else out. Because of NIL, because of the transfer portal, I do not want to hear about age any freaking more, because people are going to stay in longer.
Yeah.
People are going to transfer, and they're going to end up being that 23, 24 that we did at 24.
And honestly, it's going to make for better football, because those are the ages where QB's processing gets a little bit better and so on and so forth. If you want, and we've already learned that experienced quarterbacks tend to take to the next level a little bit better. So I actually like that. I like that.
Well, like you brought up when we were bringing up quarterbacks. Will Howard is a grad transfer, which means he is older.
He could very, very well, work out.
So that's my issue.
I'm gonna break down Michael Penix really quick, and I don't want to necessarily get into the stats just because hasn't played enough ball for us to really start picking that apart yet. Yeah. What I want to talk about though is some of the things that I've seen on film. The game, you could definitely tell when watching Penix that yes, he has sat behind a veteran in Kirk Cousins. With that being said and stated, I do want to see some of the reads kind of come to him, a little bit better, a little bit slower. He did great. I won't say great. He did okay. Reading against that Washington defense, a lot of that. And if you guys remember the play-by-play, I kept saying, Raheem Morris, let the kid play, let the kid fucking spin. A lot of it they kept the playbook dumbed down, which is why Atlanta's where they're at with the playoff seeding. I think that as the playbook expands for Penix, as the organization gets more comfortable, the coach staff gets more comfortable letting him utilize his arm and, go out there and spin it. We can see Penix, really evolve and take over for Atlanta. I like Penix for Atlanta. I think that they got something there. I want to see what it can be. Just let this last game, let the kid fucking spin. All right. What do you have to lose? It's looking like the Bucks are going to get in.
You never know. We're
going to talk about that. Let the kid spin though. And I think that we can really, really be able to fairly grade him. So for that, C-. No detriment to him, but I do think that there's some promise there. So I want to leave a lot of room for improvement and a lot of room for our interpretation. We're going to go ahead. We're going to get into halftime. We'll be right back after a couple of music videos and these messages. Cheers to me. Cheers to you. All the Rum Boys and girls, what it do. Dilly dilly. We'll see you in a few.
Dilly dilly, y'all.
Stick to the plot. Stick to the plot. Stick to the plot. And stick to the screen. Sometimes you get what you get, so don't try to do what you shit. Just stick to the plot. And stick to the plot. And stick to the plot. Hey, stick to the screen. Sometimes you get what you get, so don't try to do what you shit. See, listen to funny. You stick to the road to the riches and hope you don't crash like some dummy. To get to this money, you cut every piece of the pie to find out you sliced into an onion. Now let's change the subject. These niggas who think they got something, but actually they end up with nothing. It's getting disgusting. I'm tired of the fucking assumptions. I'm about to blow up and corrupted, so stick to it. Stick to the plan. When you lose it, gotta get it again. Keep it moving, never stick in the sand. Even when tired, like Michelin Man, shit, I know I'm the man, so I don't give a damn about opinions. I'm racking up millions, you stacking up pennies. She throwing it back in the back of the venue. Now we taking off in her man and his feelings. Now back to the business. Back to the lab with my niggas. Actually back doing laps in the trenches. It's my second home. I ain't have to go visit. I stay resident, embedded to living the life of a nigga. By day we just niggas. At night we the victim. The life of go get 'em. So I'ma go get it. I stick to my plan. I still on my mission. They stick to the plot. They stick to the plot. They stick to the screen. Sometimes you get what you get, so don't try to go into shit. Just stick to the plot. They stick to the plot. They stick to the plot. They stick to the screen. Sometimes you get what you get, so don't try to go into shit. So this is my message. Sometimes you just living in life, be an actor. Don't try to direct it. Now let's change direction. This life that we live for the lesson. Don't count chickens, start counting blessings before they go missing. I promise you, I'm on a mission. I want something, I'ma go get it. No hidden intentions. I open my eyes, saw my vision. Now everyone see that I'm gifted. I'm rapping like Christmas. You niggas just under a tree. I'm smoking it, not metaphorically. I'm smoking no tree. No one's smoking on me. So when I say you're under it, no, that means me. I'm a poet MC and I'm living my dream. Hoping that hopefully you see the hope in me. And if you don't fuck it, cause I'm all I need. Keep my ear to the game and my mind to the streets. I'm a beast. Stick to the number one mission in hand. Be true to yourself and give your life meaning. And fuck their opinions, they won't understand. To get to the top, gotta give all you got. Only getting one shot, so give up or not until your heart stops. Gotta stick to the plot. They stick to the plot. They stick to the plot. They stick to the screen. Sometimes you get what you get, so don't try to go and chase shit. Just stick to the plot. They stick to the plot. They stick to the plot. They stick to the screen. Sometimes you get what you get, so don't try to go and chase shit. Just stick to the screen.
You don't have to worry, it's my time right now, cause the boy about to blow up. They gon' pay me before I show up.
I bought in my tolerance. Money conversations ain't hard to relate, it's hollering. See my net, they acknowledge it. Good bring away your knowledge.
All righty, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. Thank you for the quick break, the uno minuto. We are going to go ahead and get into the NFL playoff talk. All right. We are going to start things off in the NFC, where the battle for the 1 seed is taking place in the NFC. With the NFC on the line, the Minnesota Vikings take on the Detroit Lions at Ford Field Sunday night. Both sides sounds like are going to be playing their starters for this one. Who wins and why? Taco, take it away. You good?
We're talking about the
1 seed in the NFC. Holy fuck.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm so torn on this one because the Vikings were a team that nobody expected to do anything, and the Lions were a team that everyone expected a lot from. And that boy Sam Darnold is just playing so fucking like. There's something about the way he's playing right now that just makes you want to root for him. And like when you see the head coach from the Vikings on the sidelines talking in the huddle and leading him and that team on, you just, man, deep down, I think the Vikings are going to take it because this starting to feel like one of those like destiny type teams, or like the team that has that like magical little run in them, because they're having a lot of things that add up. And then you have a legit special player on the other side in Justin Jefferson. So not only are you getting this magical story of Sam Darnold, but you couple that with one of the best receivers in the game, and all of a sudden that magic just got like, oh shit, that's kind of fucking crazy. And then you have Hawk, and then you have Addison. Offensively speaking, you know, in my opinion, they have more weapons than what the Lions do, particularly with no Montgomery now, because that was, Sonic and Knuckles. Now there's no Knuckles, so you're losing the superhero on that offense. And at the end of the day, we can talk all we want about, you still got Gibbs, everything's going to be fine, yada, yada, yada. David Montgomery was that like guy that could kill the clock. David Montgomery's that guy that can slow down the other team's offense. And what does the Vikings have? A fucking ridiculous offense. So I'm going to take the Vikings in the upset here. I'm liking the Vikings on this run that they have. I'm loving the way it's coming down to coaching. I'm loving the way the Vikings coach is coaching. The Lions coach, as we've seen, he likes to take gambles. He reminds me a lot of Ron Rivera. And in these clutch, close games,
of all the fucking people you could say that's who you said,
Riverboat Ron, with all the fucking gambling that he does on the field.
And it didn't work, and it never worked.
Well, how many times has it worked for Dan Campbell?
Look at his fourth
down. He's had a lot of fucking
risky plays. Look at his fourth down percentage. Look at his fourth down percentage.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying
statistically, they are nowhere near the same breath.
We've seen him make a lot of bad calls that cost the team games in the playoffs. And what I think
not nowhere as many as Riverboat Ron.
Okay.
But no, I had to go through a Riverboat Ron era.
Okay, I get it. You're PTSD. I should have used someone else that didn't cause.
No, I'm just saying, like if you're gonna talk about like coaches,
you get the point I was making.
Coaches that make those decisions and pay off. Bill Parcells is really great.
I trust the Vikings coach more than I trust the Lions coach, and that at the end of the day is going to be a difference in this game.
Mike.
The Vikings, like Taco said, were unexpected. The Lions are more expected, but I don't know. I don't know if the Lions were expected to be this good. No, they were not expected to be 2-win or 2-loss going into Week 18. I don't think anyone expected that. I sure as hell know. I didn't expect them to be 2 losses going into Week 18. Am I saying that I expected Minnesota? God, no. But Taco brought up the high-powered offense of Minnesota. Taco brought up Gibbs. Taco brought up all the stuff about Dan Campbell.
The 12 interceptions of Kirby Joseph were left out.
I get all that. This Detroit Lions team has so many injuries on this goddamn team that sooner or later it's going to show its ugly face. I think it's going to start to show its ugly face in Week 18. But I do not think that it's going to show its face enough. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is still going to have a good game because the Lions have a better backfield overall than Vikings. The Lions do end up with the number 1 seed overall going into the NFC playoffs. Vikings will end up with the 5th. Are we bringing up other divisions winners in this show or not?
Feel free if you want. I want to see where you go with this. I think you froze.
What a weird time.
Hold on.
Oh, wow.
Wait, nope, he didn't freeze. Never mind. Okay, now we can't hear you.
No,
You
You
can't?
were fine. Now you were fine. Okay, now we can't hear you. Okay.
no, it's like the make. This is trippy, bro. What the fuck do you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
You go to
Just
a
stop
pro
moving. I
league
think he just stopped moving, to be honest.
word.
I think he just stopped moving. Like,
There you go.
Are we talking about other division winners?
I said feel free. I want to see where you're going with this.
Because there was a comment about the 5 seed killing the South.
Yeah.
If the Buccaneers win and the Rams lose, the Rams become the 4 seed and the 5 seed plays the Rams. So we could have a Rams-Vikings or a Rams-Lions Week 1 game. Upset alert.
That's if Washington doesn't maintain the 6th seed, though.
I really would love the Lions and the Rams. Let's go, McVay.
I'm saying the Rams could fall to the 4 seed. And if the Rams fall to 4, they would be playing either the Lions or the Vikings. And that's the team that I would rather play the Buccaneers than the Rams.
Yeah. Okay. For me, every week on every single show that I watch, I subscribe to, it's eventually going to catch up to the Lions. You know, this defense. I mean, you know, how can they hold up? And I feel like that stuff gets back to. I don't feel like I know that it does. The stuff gets back to the locker room. They hear it and they just take it fucking personal. And when you're playing like that, it is very tough to beat a team like that. When your offensive coordinator has play after play after play after fucking play to find ways to put up 40-point games, it is very hard to score 40 fucking points in the NFL. And when the Detroit Lions are doing it on offense, and their defense is also simultaneously putting them in position to do so. Kirby Joseph down the stretch has been phenomenal. Kirby Joseph leads the league in interceptions, and it's him all the way in a tier all by himself, and there's every other fucking DB in the league. I think Xavier McKinney is the closest to him from the Packers. With what? Only 8? I think 8. Off the top of my head, I think Xavier McKinney only has like 8 or 6 or something like that. Joseph has 12. No one else has 10. No one else has 9. It's a massive fucking drop off. That defense is still good. It's a next man up mentality. And when you have a next man up mentality, it is very hard to beat a team like that. Something about this team just feels destined. Now, also, there's a very real thing that when the playoff starts about, live dogs and, some of the things that Talk was talking about coach decisions that maybe, yes, they could eventually rear its ugly head. But right now, they're playing with a lot of intensity. Don't get me wrong. Kevin O'Connell on the other side of the ball for the Minnesota Vikings is putting together a fucking master plan. Brian Flores has that defense fucking rumbling, tumbling, moving, and grooving. But you can only play the same defensive scheme for so fucking long.
Kirby Joseph, 9. Xavier McKinney, 7. Marlon Humphrey,
Okay.
6.
There we go. Okay. I was a little off. I knew I saw a graphic from NBC earlier about it.
But literally, there's no one. It goes 9, 7, 6, 5. I mean,
yeah, it's a fucking drop off. Like it's crazy. It's crazy to be in a league of your own, to be able to bait quarterbacks that way. As a DB, you're doing that with your eyes, you're doing that with your hips. There's so much that's going into you being able to throw a quarterback off their game, to be able to time those picks, to be able to go and catch wide receivers at the top of their fucking routes. You're talking about having the communication to pass off coverage, and you're doing that with the backups that are in the fucking game. I don't want to hear the argument of, oh, well, good coaching is good coaching. This is the fucking NFL. This is the NFL. Oh, well, they don't have David Montgomery. Look at what Jahmyr Gibbs has turned into. Gibbs has fucking been phenomenal. Certain teams, you just ground and pound. When you go to war, the units that deploy, sometimes you lose fucking men. But the units that deploy, get back and get the fucking mission done. Some of the fucking best ones I've been a part of. Yeah. Shit's gonna fucking happen out there on the battlefield. Go out there, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, and go get it the fuck done. Lions are gonna go get that win. They're gonna maintain that 1 seed. Getting into the AFC, the Denver Broncos find themselves with a win and get in situation as they take on the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Dolphins and Bengals are praying for a Denver loss and wins for their respective ball clubs so that they can vie for an opportunity to get in. Between these three kind of like situations, these 3 games, who wins these to kind of finalize the AFC playoff picture? Mike, start it off.
So I was giving Taco a hard time earlier, saying that the Broncos have not got into the playoffs because they haven't. But they're going to. The Chiefs are sitting way too many people. Mahomes isn't playing. Pacheco's not playing. They just came out today and said Chris Jones is doubtful. Kareem Hunt is doubtful.
Yeah.
Nick Bolton is doubtful. Trent McDuffie is doubtful. There was a couple other big ones that I saw. Can't remember exactly who. I think they even said maybe Hopkins to give them another rest.
They're sitting pretty much everyone.
They're going to sit everyone. I think they're going to sit everyone that doesn't have a incentive to play. So, unfortunately, I think Denver is going to win. I think Miami loses, and I think Cincinnati wins. So, if Miami was, or if Denver was to lose, I think Cincinnati gets that final playoff spot because they're saying that Tua is doubtful. So, I think Cincinnati is going to come out hemming and hollering. So, I think that is where I lay on that one. I just think that Denver, after losing to the Chiefs, off of the block kick the last time and everything else that Sean Payton has in his damn evil Dr. Evil mind, I think that they are going to win, and I'm not upset with us losing at all. I'm not at all. What I'm mad about is against the Broncos when we can kick a division opponent out of the goddamn playoffs. That's what I'm upset about. I'm upset about as a Chiefs fan, and I'm upset about it as an NFL fan with no ties to the Chiefs in the sense of I know your answer, Robbie. I already know your answer, and I know you know where I'm going with this. I would rather see Burrow and Chase in the playoffs than freaking Nixon Payton.
I want Denver in.
You'd rather see Denver in over Cincy?
Yeah, I want Denver in.
Why? Explain yourself.
They have been the more consistent team throughout the season.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but
the Bengals have been the Bengals have been too up and down. I see the Bengals being an easier opportunity of being a first round bounce, and Denver I see being more of a live dog. I want anarchy. I want a good team to fucking get in. I don't want you guys. I don't want the Bengals are just going to get walked all over. Like, I mean, someone has to get bounced in the first round. You know that because that's the way. You know, this is sports. Yeah. But I'd much rather see a team go out there and really fucking fight versus where like I feel like the Bengals. I don't know what I'm going to get out of them, and I can't deal with. I from a viewing standpoint, like I just.
Robbie sounds like a jaded ex. I can't see her again. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like we used to be serious.
No, it's the same conversation. It's the same conversation that we had about college football. It's the same conversation we had about college football. I don't want to like Indiana. If Indiana would have kept making it, like they would have kept like we knew that Indiana was going to be a quick exit. We knew the estimate. Like no one really gives a fuck about those games.
Bro, you also have to factor in T. Higgins was out for the majority of the beginning of the season. Burrow was
I'm taking all things into account. They didn't have
the Chief Brown takeover. There's no way
everything
you
into
can
account.
sit there and call the Bengals a kid. And listen,
you
were the Burrow Glazer. Like you were
I'm taking everything into account.
All over Burrow and the Bengals.
I'm taking everything.
I think you're underselling them right now, and with the way that they're playing, like. If I'm the Chiefs and there's one team that they don't want to see in the playoffs, more than fucking the Josh Allen led Bills, is the fucking Bengals. Just because they're
if I'm the Chiefs, if I'm any team, if I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say this on record. If I am any fucking team on either side, NFC or AFC, and I've said this on previous shows on Rumboyz After Dark, I am scared shitless. Regardless of fucking seed, of everyone, of every fucking team that can get in. With the Bengals and the Dolphins, I'm not. Those teams don't fulfill my appetite. The Bengals, yes, you have the number one. You have Trey Henderson has been on a fucking great defensive run. Joe Burrow. MVP conversations. Jamar Chase, fucking phenomenal receiver. Do not get me wrong. Zach Taylor has not always made the greatest fucking decisions for them. That offensive line has been highly inconsistent, and then the rest of the defense is dog shit. Those three pieces are not able to get the job done themselves.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it because they're gonna lose. If this was a team that had, that still had Jesse Bates back there as well, and they had all those guys, that they had on the defense, that then it makes a lot more sense. They're not that team anymore. You're not that guy, pal.
They can put up 40.
they are not able to do it at the same clip as frequently as the other teams that are situated right now. You don't know what you're going to get, and I don't want that. I know what I'm going to get with this Broncos team.
I think it's exactly the one thing that you just said. MVP Burrow. And when you have a guy playing at that level in the playoffs, you just give him a fucking shot and you don't know what the fuck is going to happen.
No.
We see it with Mahomes.
This a team sport. I'm looking at more than just, oh my gosh, like I love Jamar Chase. I love Joe Burrow. I'm looking at it beyond that as a football mind. Everything that for the reason that Z2 is putting out there, that is why I am anti.
That's like the fucking top.
Z's not wrong. Okay, Z's not wrong, but let me ask you a question. If they were to sneak into the playoffs, okay? If they were to sneak into the playoffs, what percentage chance do you give Cincinnati to upset the Buffalo Bills? Because that's who they would play.
They're gone. They're gone. They're
okay,
gone.
I'm not disagreeing with you. However, what would the ratings of that wild card matchup be? It would be amazing.
Ratings would be great. Ratings would be great. I'm all for momentum. I am all for momentum. Okay. I also have a lot of respect for consistency. All right. I'm not bought into Cincinnati.
The Bengals aren't consistent. They just started off slow. They're consistently a playoff team. And Burrow is a playoff quarterback. And
their defense is the worst it's level. To Z2's point, their defense is the worst it's been in a while.
No, not saying no.
It is bad.
But I'll say this: if T. Higgins
that is a defense that is going to get picked apart and bounced early.
If T. Higgins is healthy, this has to be one of the top offenses in this thing.
T. Higgins hasn't been healthy.
He's been dynamic.
He's been playing really dog shit, honestly. For what we expect out of T. Higgins, hasn't been great.
You mean the soon-to-be former Cincinnati Bengal?
I mean, according to him, he's like, well, I'll probably, take a pay cut and just get paid whatever I'm paid. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're gone. Like,
I mean, he has 10 touchdowns. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's tied for 5th in the NFL in touchdowns. Despite everything that you're saying, despite only playing 11 games, he can score. If he's healthy.
Do me a favor. I'm not disagreeing with you, but go to game logs. How many of those are like? Didn't he have a 3 and a couple 2s?
Yeah, he had It was like mad layered.
If he's healthy in the playoffs for the Bengals, this offense is one of the most dynamic in this playoffs. Period. Because guess what? You don't need him everywhere when you have Chase. You need him in that red zone when you need to score. And that's where a lot of teams like the Broncos will have problems punching it in the end zone. And when you take threes instead of touchdowns, you're not going to fucking be able to win. And that's why I don't think long-term or even short-term, the Broncos are going to be viable. Like, they're going to get stomped out by the Bills just because you can't keep up offensively with that Bills team.
Denver had average on an average basis, on a season average basis, Denver does put up
playoffs is different.
Denver does put up more points.
The playoffs is different now. We're talking about battle-tested Joe Burrow, and you're going to be going into Buffalo.
Joe Burrow needs to sit back and reevaluate a few things.
You just said he's playing MVP role.
It's not him. It's the team around him. They need to figure out where they're going to get, again, kind of going back how I was roasting you about your Giants. They need to get that man some fucking protection.
Not saying no.
Like, I don't, for how much I enjoy the Bengals, I don't want to see them get picked apart. There's just no need. I would much rather, so that I can enjoy them at a very high level next year, I would much rather please go fix that fucking offensive line. go get some defensive pieces on the back end. Because right now, you're not built for a run. I think the Broncos in the playoffs are much more of a live dog than the Bengals, than the Dolphins. If someone is going to lock in that 7th seed and get bounced first, let it be someone that's actually, I feel like, that's at least built for it right now. Right now. I don't think if you're the Bengals, you get into the playoffs, you get bounced in the first round, you set yourself back next year. You set yourself back next year.
Momentum is a hell of a thing.
So it sounds like you got the Bengals fighting to get in, Taco.
I'm just piggybacking on what Mike was saying. Like they like if you're telling me a team that's scarier to get in, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm like doing anything.
Do you have the Bengals getting
in?
So wait, you have the Bengals getting in?
No, because the Chiefs are going to sit everyone and their mother to make sure that they don't get in.
He's saying they're doing it to keep them out.
Yeah,
I'm saying they're just doing it to keep them rested.
Both. But I mean, listen, when things line up, they just line up.
Burrow for real, watching that game. Burrow
That's kind of like the Eagles.
Fucking
like,
lucky.
Not only can they rest their guys, but you can really fuck the Giants if you lose that game, huh?
Burrow got hella fucking lucky in that game. Like for real. Like, and there's been a lot. Like the thing is with Denver is it's been nail biters for them. You know, that's why I feel like also they're more prepared to be a live dog. With Cincy, it's been some you know, hit or miss games. Like they let Tennessee hang around. You know, it was a close one against Pittsburgh. Like Dallas almost handed it to them. They whooped up on Cleveland. Come on. So we're all in on Denver then. Because of what Kansas City is going to do.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, and in the NFC, we're kind of split. I'm the only one. I'm the lone wolf on the Lions.
No, I am.
You're on the Lions? Oh yeah,
I think
that's right. That's right. We're both on the Lions. You're on.
I think it's gonna be close. But.
I think it's gonna be hella close. I think it comes down to a Jake Bates field goal. I think it's Jake Bates said that it puts it to the upright.
Writing himself a season.
What?
He is writing himself one for the history books.
Who?
Sam Darnold.
Oh yeah.
And he has the opportunity to do something really fucking crazy on Saturday night and be like,
look.
Fuck
if you're a Vikings fan, you're like, fuck all that first round bullshit, fuck everything. You're like, just go out there, dogfight, and please get to the Super Bowl. Because that fan base has been through enough. And it would be the most Minnesota thing to get a first round bye and then lose. That would be the most Minnesota shit ever. So if I'm Minnesota, I'm like, to Leaf's point, because he's bitching, whining, moaning, complaining about momentum and me not bringing up momentum. They need momentum. That's a team that you don't want to let off the gas. You just want them to – you want the Minnesota Vikings, if you're a Vikings fan, you want them to be playing football every goddamn down. Period. Periods. If I'm a Detroit Lions fan, same thing. I'm like, no, go out there and just please win every fucking game. Just keep with the momentum. Final topic. Last week we talked about MVPs, the MVP award. This week, a little bit different. Not necessarily going to talk about the award itself, just a history of rookie quarterbacks. Or, well, yeah, you know, rookie seasons.
Yes.
Most passing touchdowns in the fourth quarter and overtime in NFL history by a rookie with 12. Most rushing yards by a rookie, 864. 8th in passer rating and 6th in completion percentage. Highest QB wide receiver, highest QB and wide receiver duo passer rating in a single season since 2012, Brady and Gronk with 75 plus targets, 140. Is Jaden Daniels the best rookie we've ever seen in NFL history, in football history? Think back to like all of your favorite rookie seasons that you've ever watched. Mike?
No.
Hey, that's not glaze. Those are real stats. Those are real life stats. That's not even.
You used to talk about Joe Burrow like that.
No, even Joe Burrow's rookie season, I think I touted. I'm trying to remember who I touted a little bit more than Burrow.
In that year, I don't remember. If we're going off pure stats, it's hard to not say Jaden Daniels. I don't disagree with anyone that wants to argue that point. It's just too
Whatever.
It's just also hard to, like in every greatest of all time or any debate like that, to a certain degree. It's always
Lawrence
hard.
Taylor, Night Train Lane.
I'm just saying it's always hard to go through. What am I trying to say? Like eras, like yeah, it's hard to sit there and say that, compare Jaden Daniels to LT, partly because of position and partly because of era. I mean, Dan Marino came out of the gate freaking hot as hell. Marshawn Lynch came out of the gate freaking hot as hell. Jim Brown came out of the gate hot as hell. There's guys that are all-time greats that didn't, like Peyton Manning didn't come out hot, 1-16 or 1-15. Aikman freaking struggled as like a freaking rock his rookie year. But, I mean, you look at guys like Roethlisberger, he had a good rookie year. Then there's guys, I mean, this one's bringing up Peyton, but I can't do that because of his record. But, I mean, in 12 games, I mean, I'm not comparing him to Jaden Daniels, but in 12 games for a shitty team, Fred Taylor had 1,223 yards and 14 touchdowns.
Fred Taylor's rookie season was fucking insane.
I mean, and that was a not good Jacksonville team yet. So when it comes to pure numbers, I mean, I was surprised to see, I didn't realize it until the game was over, that he is the number one rushing quarterback this season. He has more yards than Lamar Jackson. When I was doing a final review for an article, I saw that and I was like, oh shit, he's even beaten Lamar in pass and rushing yards. So I will not debate that he's having a great year. Yes, he is the rookie of the year of this season, hands down.
He is also the first rookie with 4,000 total yards, 30 plus or 4,000 plus total yards, 30 plus total TDs, 10 plus and 10 plus wins in NFL history.
Yeah, but like we will say, and I'm not saying this because you're a Commanders fan, I'm really not. Could we have, I'm not saying he's going to be a one and doneer, but like he needs to learn how to protect himself. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, that when he got rolled up in that Atlanta game, that was some bullshit. That should have been unnecessary.
It should have been,
bro.
I'm just saying,
that was bullshit.
Even the game before he got hit, and I was kind of like, yeah, you don't like this.
Hey, he takes some. He doesn't take as many sacks. He doesn't take as many hits as some other running quarterback. So I can at least the kid's really fucking elusive. And I've never seen anything like it in my entire fucking life, to be honest. Since I have never seen anything like it since Lamar, in all honesty. Taco.
I mean, I guess I could rock the boat a little bit, right? Makes sense. What I Cam Newton? Killer Cam. Superman.
Okay.
He won Rookie of the Year. He led the Panthers to the playoffs. He threw for 4,000 yards that season. He threw for 21 touchdowns. While he didn't run for as many yards as James Daniels, he rushed for 14 touchdowns. Let's not forget about how dominant Cam Newton was in his prime and his rookie season. To come out the gates like that, I mean, you have to say this could be, from a statistical standpoint, because of that touchdown differential, dare I say, a better rookie year. I mean, listen, this guy has an extra game to play. So, I mean, he has extra stats to add into his numbers. I mean,
But he hasn't played that extra game yet.
Yeah, he hasn't played that extra game yet. Yeah,
okay.
that's
yeah,
what
right. But if you look at it, more touchdowns and more and more passing yards.
I do have a question for you, Taco. Robbie knows I like to push your little button. Does record matter? 6-10 over 6-10 as rookie season. How much does that matter?
I mean, the Panthers didn't make the playoffs. So if records do matter,
his rookie season, they made it 6-10.
They did not make the playoffs his rookie season.
They made it his second season.
Second.
They didn't make it his rookie season.
We're only judging rookie seasons.
He had those stats, but not the playoffs.
Listen, that I blame on Gronk. Fuck you, Gronk.
Why are you using it? You can look at a real stat.
You get the stats because I just tell him to pull up the stats. Listen, man, we 2025. Fucking new shit, bro.
Who did he tell?
He's fucking using an AI to pull up stats.
I'm looking at his Wikipedia page.
Oh, come on, Wikipedia, you guys think.
The NFL Wikipedia page.
Listen. Still, like I said,
actually, he didn't make it to the postseason until his third year.
These guys.
So Cam is still with the 6-10 record.
Yeah. 4,051 yards, like he said, 17 interceptions, and
Taco, you can look. All right, let's be fair. All right, let's be fair. The best way to probably sum up this topic, when you have that many fucking NFL first at the quarterback position, I don't give a fuck what team you play for. At the hardest, most demanding position in football, game that's been around for over 100 years, and you have that many fucking first. And in the words of Rich Eisens, it's another first. It's like every week he's doing something that just has never been done. You know, Rookie of the Year, hands down. That's why we didn't really make this segment a debate. We more so tried to, kind of like look back and reflect. Stroud had a great rookie season. Lamar had an amazing fucking rookie season. There's been some phenomenal ones, especially in recent memory. Just when we talk, I mean, just quarterbacks alone. But it's unique, and it's one of those things for, like, especially our age group where, you kind of start seeing these guys, these old fucks on Twitter and everything that are like, I'm done watching football, or like, I don't even know who's playing anymore. Or like, you see the fucker who's, they're like, yeah, I'm a fan of my team, but they haven't they can't even name you anyone that's currently on their roster or anything. Like for a lot of like the older generation, it's like, to me, seeing this stuff happen, it's like the game is left in good hands. You know, when we talk about, oh, well, like, I don't know if like this next quarterback class, like is going to be able, you know, is any good or whatever. But like, I really do feel like that this new breed is in the way the game is being developed, the way the game is being taught and coached, we're heading into a very positive direction. I think that this is just a small sign of what's to come for years. I don't think that Jaden's necessarily. I'm not going to sit here and go on record. Oh, well, this person's going to be the next, you know, Jaden or whatever. Going to have like a Jaden-like season because I feel like that's very difficult. Hell, it was even difficult to say that Jaden or anyone from this class, let alone, was going to be able to do what he has done. To do what CJ Stroud did, let alone, you know, last year. But I do think that it is something to say that the future is very bright for our game. Never underestimate, you know, anyone. I mean, we've seen a quarterback be Mr. Irrelevant and take his team to a fucking Super Bowl. You know, we're seeing, you know, a rookie take its franchise that's been poverty ridden, you know, for the last 30 fucking years, you know, to a playoff, to a playoff and an opportunity at the dance. I think it just really shows us that, like, you know, when we look over the last couple of years, we you know, we look at the changing of the guard at the position, you know, the most pivotal position. Game's in really great hands. Like, we're good. Like we're good. I'm not going to sit here and say that Shador or Cam or, you know, any of those guys are going to be, you know, like they do what Jaden did this year, because that's a very high bar. But I think these guys are going to be able to come in and be competent. I think the game is being coached in a way to where players are going to be able to come into the next level, and not everyone's going to do it, but we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. You know, and also shout out to Bo Nix, shout out to Brock Bowers, you know, for their rookie seasons as well. If it was not for so many firsts that had been done, they definitely deserve their praise. So yeah, other than that, next time you guys see us next Friday, we're going to be breaking down playoffs. We're going to be breaking down wild card. We're going to be talking like we'll actually be able to pick real life dark horses at that point. We are going to start locking in Super Bowl predictions. So after this Sunday, next Friday, you guys will see us. We'll have some bowl predictions for you guys.
Do we prop bets for next week?
What?
Prop bets for next week?
Yeah, we'll be getting into like wild card prop bets. Like it'll.
I'll start looking early.
Yeah, it'll. Well, you won't be able to look until Monday night, but yeah, because nothing's set in stone right
Finalized.
now. But yeah, I mean, other than that, we'll be back with the reaction from you know, college football and everything. So yeah, a lot to look forward to next week. Weeks closer to being back in my new studio, or being in my new studio, not back, but being in my new studio. So super excited. Thank you guys for being patient with me throughout like this whole like moving period and transition period and everything. You guys are fucking awesome for that. And yeah, other than that, cheers to me, cheers to you, all the Rumboyz and girls, what it do. We greatly love and appreciate you. Oh, and shout out to all of you guys that won your fantasy football championships. I wasn't going to brag about any of mine because I'm in too many fucking leagues. So it's kind of irrelevant that I actually win. Because it's like, no, duh, you were in 17 fucking leagues. Of course you're going to win.
There's only one that matters on this show for me. So
yeah. You beat me in the staff league, so congratulations.
that's the only reason I cared about it.
Cheers to me. Cheers to you, all the Rumboyz and girls. What it do? We love and appreciate you. Have a very safe weekend. We will see you guys Sunday night for the NFC, showdown. Vikings, Lions.
Hey.